you will vanish into the story you chose to restore. You will break the frame, and what follows will not remember you. You will be seen. You will be followed. You will be blamed. You will shape the world to become its witness. He shall find his way home. The tear between the worlds shall close. Then the prince will ascend and return to his mother. The heart shall cease its bleeding. Through his ascension, the weirdness will be tamed.
No, I won't let this happen. Not again.
You uncovered the truth buried in the weirdness and used it to return Arthur to where he truly belonged, ending the cycle and securing Avalon's future. The Four-Dweller Mother's heart, no longer bleeding, sealed the wound in the world, and with it, ended the Red Death that had stolen so many lives. And so, the legend of King Arthur began to fade. In its place grew a stronger Avalon, where the weirdness was no longer feared, but understood. With One Eye and Captain Brandon working side by side, the South found a peace it hadn't known in years. The roads stayed open, the fields were guarded, and the people finally felt safe. No longer bound to Camelot or the Knights of the Round Table, it became a land ruled by its own people on its own terms. The men here stayed in Kuenacht, but Yvain failed to rally the minds and hearts needed for his Grail quest. With no clear leaders and rising tension, both Kuenacht and Camelot grew fragile, drifting toward division, with no one left to hold the line. You awakened the giants, and with them at their side, the Dal Rita conquered Camelot. As the capital fell, the customs of the tribes spread across Avalon. Not everyone welcomed them, but the change had already taken root. Firgas was named the new Galahad the Loyal. With One Eye and Brendan backed by the Dal Rita, the Forlorn Swords, he saw that the South's alliance was strong enough to stand on its own. He urged Camelot to leave the South in peace and turned his attention to securing the rest of Avalon. The captain led the South to independence, breaking all ties with Camelot. Under his rule, the Horns of the South flourished. Merchants, pilgrims, and adventurers returned to the roads, and prosperity once again reached the far corners of the land. One Eye ruled the South, with the Horns of the South at his side. Over time, the Dal Rita of the Fallen Swords rallied to his banner, forging a unified force. With the South secured, he stood in a strong position to launch future conquests across Avalon. Nianta left Kuenacht with Yvain, and her fate remained unknown. Yet among the people she once served, tales of her devotion and courage endured, and her name was remembered with respect. Maggot chose to remain in Kuanak, and the people stayed with him. Over time, they grew to trust him and often sought his wisdom. In time, he took on an apprentice, planting the first seeds of a new druidic tradition. Ulfr left Kuanak alongside Yvain, despite concerns about his age. His fate remained unknown, but the people admired him for finding purpose at the end of his life, and spoke of him with lasting respect. Ailey turned to the merchants for support, and for a time the hospital prospered. But when they began charging patients for care, she walked away and opened her own small practice, refusing to serve profit over healing. The Volker joined the rest of the Dal Rita without a matron and without Mathar's blessing. Even so, their warriors kept the ferocity they had once been famed for, tempered now by a clarity that left the other tribes uneasy. They were respected, but only barely. For what greater dishonor is there than turning one's back on the goddess who had made them what they were? Ingui turned away from the eternal sleep, choosing life over dreams. In time, she began to rebuild the Thoid among the living, planting the first seeds of a new future for her scattered people. Under Stronar's leadership, the Ulfra found new strength. He rebuilt the tribe and reunited them with the rest of the Dal Rita, restoring their place among the tribes of the Forlorn Swords. With the Stagfather slain and the old bonds broken, Balaam led the Svine towards a new path. He opened the tribe to the other clans of the Dal Rita and guided them to settle in the Mathar mines. You accepted the mycelium's offer and let the spores consume Sagramor's body. Now the kingdom lies under fungal control, its people connected, obedient, and slowly fading into the roots that feed the spores. You made a pact with the Fordwellers, freeing them only once they agreed to leave behind their knowledge. One was lost to madness, but another fulfilled the promise, placing a stone woven with the song at the feet of the Stone Wardens. Through it, the craft survived into a new age. You and Elisa built a quiet life together by the sea. Far from Avalon's struggles, you lived in peace, and for once no legend was written, only days shared in contentment. After returning to Camelot, Killian lived quietly for a time. When he vanished, few asked questions. Unsettling rumors had always followed him, and most preferred not to remember. Proud of her newfound ability to fly, Muriel returned to Tuathan to deliver her report. The Fordwellers, seeing that she had survived and been treated with care, took it as a rare sign of hope, that perhaps, at last, humanity might be ready for dialogue. O Queen Cinnamon Sage never forgot the bond he shared with you. Proud of the path you chose, he built a small shop near your grave, and in quiet moments, still spoke to you as he once did. A friend loyal beyond the bounds of life.
Damn. Fan-fucking-tastic RPG. And without question, one of my top 5 this year. However, the last time I uploaded a video on Tainted Grail, I got a comment telling me about Act 3 and how broken it is. So I waited for the patch, and they did eventually come out with a big patch, including a bunch of different additional things, including transmog, which I definitely made use out of. Nice little feature, a lot of new stuff, but unfortunately, I had major issues in Act 3. I got to a point where I just couldn't equip anything new. Like, I couldn't equip anything new at all. I got, like, the King's Armor, I got some really good shit that I just couldn't use, because every single time I tried to equip it, the game would just immediately crash. And I've tried all kinds of fixes, but it wouldn't work. Act 3 crashed on me constantly. Yeah, I had that bug nerdy end of it, where I just could not equip new stuff at all. So I essentially just had to boost what I was wearing at the time and upgrade that as much as possible. It did make... Thankfully, I specialized in magic, and swapping out magic was fine. Swapping out gear, like weaponry, was fine. But armor and, like, amulets and rings and things just crashed the fucking game. They need a lot of work in Act 3. Act 3 is noticeably bare bones compared to the rest of the game, which is a shame, because I fucking love the Dalrita. The Dalrata, the Dalrita, they are very much up my alley. I love shamanistic, like, barbarian tribe people. It's just a flavor that tickles my pickle, so to speak. It's a flavor I absolutely love. I love, like, animal worship and frigging, you know, nature spirit shit, and I like how this game has, like, a perverse version of that, and it's very, very good. Very, very good. The earlier game is very, very funny. There's a lot of, like, funny quests and little bits. And then later on, the game gets more serious, and Act 3 is very, very serious for the most part. There's very little funny stuff. It's very, very serious, but it also suits the Dalrita people. It is a great game, and there have been buggier games out there that have been some of the best games I've ever played, like Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, so on and so forth. There's been quite a few games over the years that are buggy beyond belief that are still great despite their bugs, and this game is nothing compared to the average Bethesda game when it comes to bugs. But yeah, the ending of it was not... like, Act 3 had a lot of problems. But no, it's absolutely phenomenal. I love the kind of dark, twisted version of Arthinian legend. I love the gameplay. I love the rewarding of exploration, especially in Acts 1 and 2, not so much in 3. Again, the game has a very... very similar issue to Baldur's Gate 3, in that it's very, very, very obvious that Act 1 got the attention. Act 1 is full of hidden, like, secrets. It's full of, like, funny side quests and things to find. It's fun of all sorts of stuff, right? Act 1 is packed to the brim with amazing content. Act 2, less so, but still really, really good, and probably my favorite zone of the game. Act 2 is fantastic. It's the perfect mix of everything. And then Act 3, I love the themes. I love the, you know, it's very much up my alley, but Act 3 is very, very, very standard compared to 1 and 2. Act 3 is far more generic, including the whole, oh, go to every single tribe and do a bunch of menial tasks for them in order to get them to join you kind of thing, right? It's worth doing that. You get, like, the best armor in the game by doing that. But, and the quests are fun as well, and, like, really dark, and it's just cool. But, Act 3 is noticeably generic compared to the rest of the game. It will be on my top 5, and it will be pretty high in my top 5, but it does lose points for the bugginess. It does definitely lose points for the bugginess, so we'll see what I feel like at the end of the year, but legitimately, this is an indie project that a company just decided to do. This is a tabletop company, apparently, as far as I'm aware. Tainted Grail is a tabletop property, from what I've learned. The fact that these guys just decided to make a game, and they've put their all into it, and it's fucking fantastic. Like, indie games are the future. They really are. Like, indie games are incredible. I don't know many people that play primarily AAA anymore. There's like maybe 2 free AAA games that come out every year that are worth your time. But for the most, I mean, there's one next month. The new Digimon game comes out on the 2nd next month. I'm really looking forward to that. It looks fantastic. It looks like pretty much everything I loved about Cyber Sleuth and Cyber Sleuth 2, but like a million times better. Especially since we're going back to the digital world again, which is fantastic. I'm really friggin' excited for it. It looks great. Plus the English voice acting. So you've got the Digimon actually saying their abilities, like marching fishes, you know, and pepper breath and all that kind of thing. So it's really, really, really cute. And the personality system has mechanical features, but it's also very cute. So I'm so looking forward to Digimon coming out next month. But, nah. Absolutely fantastic game. Now, am I going to go into New Game Plus, or am I going to return? I think I'm going to return. Because I do want to start a new character. I want to play a little bit more of this until Digimon comes out. I'm thinking of making a dual wielder character. I really want to go into like stealth, so I think I'm going to do like dual dagger archery character. I want to get a few achievements I missed out this time around, such as turning that weird chef into cheese, and getting the one where you die whilst wearing a fake ring, which I couldn't get. I couldn't get this time around because I had an ability that does damage as soon as I take damage. So when that like cheese guy attacked me, it just killed him outright. And then the ring, I couldn't equip the ring because every single time I tried to equip that ring, it crashed the game. So I need to do that in a new playthrough. I think there's some kind of memory leak, because as you do more things and you accumulate more stats, the game does seem to slow down a lot, as if it's trying to like load all of it simultaneously. So I do think there's some kind of like memory leak issue in Act 3 onwards. It really does feel like that. But like there's a bunch of achievements I want to do at some point. So yeah, like the fishing one's always going to be the biggest pain in the arse. But there's a few achievements I want to do. There's like one where you kill the archer guy like right at the start of the game, which is perfect for this new character I'm going to make. So, because I'd love to wear his armor. And then there's an achievement for basically talking to him whilst wearing his armor. He's immortal. Long story. But no. It's a truly spectacular game that really rewards exploration. The only major issue I have with Tainted Grail is Act 3. Act 3 was when I encountered most of my problems. Act 1 was perfect. Act 2 was a bit finicky in the later stages of it, where I had 1 or 2 crashes. And Act 3 was largely broken, where it crashed constantly, and then I eventually just had that bug where I just couldn't equip new armor or like accessories. I could only just swap out my weaponry and spells, and that was it. Which was a major pain in the ass in the later stages of the game. Thankfully they added transmog, because if it wasn't for transmog, I wouldn't have been able to see what the new armor I unlocked looked like. So that is definitely something that they need to fix, because that is a real fucking problem. I think next time I play, I'm also going to play on a higher difficulty. The game starts off quite difficult, but as you can see from this video, by the end of it, I was just decimating bosses in like 1 or 2 hits. I got so strong with magic, it was crazy. So I think this time around I'm going to start off on a harder difficulty. I'm going to have like a slower start, but like it's going to be more satisfying later on in the game. So I think I do want to play more of it. I want to make some more evil choices, like siding with Camelot and whatnot, and you know, joining the evil butcher kind of like paladin character, I forget his name, instead of One Eye, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different things I want to do next time around. But in conclusion, fantastic game. It is definitely one that you need to play if you love RPGs. If you like Skyrim, oddly enough, if you like the Fable games, I think you'll love this, because Act 1 especially has very, very Fable-esque dialogue, including one thing I actually missed. I actually came back to get the achievement. There's a talking chicken in the game. Now, I'm not going to spoil what the whole deal is with the talking chicken, but there's a talking chicken in the game, and her voice acting is fantastic. She's a lot of fun. So. But no, there's a lot of daft shit, but there's a lot of dark shit, and it kind of reminds me of like Oblivion in that it mixes really dark themes with really silly moments. It's got that nice balance, And the fact that it gets so fucking dark really does make those silly, funny moments shine all the more. And again, those silly moments make the darkness shine all the more. I love it. It's one of the things I love about Oblivion. That's why Oblivion is one of my favorite games of all time. And it's one thing that Morrowind and Skyrim doesn't quite get right. Oblivion's just that perfect mix of dark and silly. And this does that in Act 1 specifically very, very, very well. It's got kind of like a Fable-esque vibe to it, where some of the voice actors seem to be like hamming it up. It's very, very, very funny. Brilliant game, and I'm sure it's only going to get better. I wish this team the best of luck in their future endeavors. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on them. That being said, the game needs more polish in Act 3. It needs a lot more bug fixes in Act 3. I greatly respect the patch that you did, guys, in fixing a lot of problems, because apparently Act 3 was just outright unplayable for a lot of people, and now it's playable. But barely. There's still a shit ton of problems. So, yeah. But I do think it's worth your time and your money, and I would rather play another game by this studio than Bethesda's next shite entry. It's going to be bad. The next Elder Scrolls game is going to be terrible. I'm calling it now. I think we all know this at this point. It's like, you know, after Fallout 4 being a Fallout game in name only, Fallout 76 being a colossal fucking joke of a game, Starfield being the most soulless video game experience I have ever had. Like, Bethesda, but Skyrim's success killed Bethesda. It did. Skyrim's a good game, but Skyrim's success killed Bethesda. The moment Bethesda tasted success, they got lazy and greedy and just kept releasing Skyrim over and over again, and now we're getting like worse versions of Skyrim. So the Elder Scrolls 6 is not going to have a completely new identity like, you know, Morrowind and Oblivion and Skyrim did. It's just going to be Skyrim again, but worse. That's what it's going to be. I hope I'm wrong. I hope the next Elder Scrolls game is going to be a truly fantastic experience. But I've got a feeling that the only reason I will ever buy that game is because a mod team that made a big mod for it. Kind of like the main reason I would recommend Fallout 4 would be Fallout London. You know, that kind of thing, right? But we'll see, we'll see. Either way, let me know your thoughts if you finish the game yourself. And yeah, one of the best games this year, which is saying something because we've had some fucking fantastic games this year. I'm hoping to finish Date Everything now. Before the end of the year, I'm hoping to finish the new Digimon game coming out on the 2nd of October by the end of the year. At that point, I will probably go back to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and continue playing that. They are still waiting for me at that wedding. I just did a bunch of side quests, and like they're still waiting for me at that fucking wedding. By the time I get to that wedding, I am going to be OP as balls. And I also would love to play Expedition 33 before the end of the year, but do not count on that because Kingdom Come Deliverance is probably going to take up the rest of the year, and I probably won't even be finished with it by the time I do my top 5. So there's a decent chance that game's not going to be showing up. And yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. I do have my top 5 set in stone at the moment, but that stone can be edited. You know, it's like I've got it set. I kind of know what I'm doing. The order might flip around a little bit, but I kind of know where everything is at this point. But it might change, but it probably won't. So I'm very much looking forward to doing that video. It's been a really, really good year for video games. The best year since I started doing that list. You know, we've had like, even when it comes to games that I'm not interested, like fucking Silksong, a lot of people are like absolutely in love with that game, which is great to see for fans of Hollow Knight. You know, there's been so many good games this year. But anyway, let me know what you think of Tainted Grail down below. Hopefully Act 3 gets fixed eventually. I'm sure it will, but I've got a feeling it's going to take a while. And I hope, I wish all the best for this studio and their future endeavors. Bye for now.